Hi guys, I want to introduce myself. My name is Debbie and I've had tinnitus for a very long time. And the reason I want to do this video is because I've been struggling with it, habituating to it for the second time for the last year and a half. And I've been looking at a lot of YouTube videos, trying to figure things out, trying to figure out what's going on, listening to other people's stories, and it has been so very helpful to me. When other people talk about it and I relate to what they're going through, I'm like, it's kind of comforting to know that other people are struggling with it too. I'm not happy for those people, of course. I don't wish this on anybody. But let's face it, we're human, and you know, it's good to have some support. So I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube, and I've learned so much. So I'll just tell you a brief background of my story, and I'm just gonna kind of do a paintbrush overview. Basically, I'm not really sure how long I've had tinnitus, but I've had it for a long time. I know in probably my adulthood, 20s, 30s, I probably started getting it. I know I had very, very mild tinnitus and it never bothered me. It's probably because I went to so many concerts growing up as a teenager and young adult, and I think that's probably where I ended up, or at least it started at that point of my life. I can't be 100% sure. I know that I've had hearing loss, especially in my left ear, for a long time also. And again, that could be related to all the loud music that I've listened to. Maybe some other loud sounds that I was exposed to that I wasn't aware of. So I do have, I would say, moderate hearing loss in my left ear and mild, kind of normal to mild hearing loss in my right ear. And it kind of coincides with the tinnitus because my tinnitus in my right ear is a lot more mild than my left side. So I've had tinnitus for a long time, never bothered me until probably 2015. I was exposed to a very loud sound in my kitchen, and I knew something was up. The tinnitus didn't start at that point, actually. I was under a lot of stress at that point in my life, and I definitely think, through all my research and my experience, that stress is definitely a contributor. And I would say more often than not, hearing loss, some hearing loss is definitely connected to tinnitus also. Of course, there's so many other reasons that people get tinnitus. I mean, you can have problems with your cervical spine. You could have Meniere's disease. You could have a lot of things. It could be from antibiotics. It could be a virus that attacked your inner ear. It could be a million things. But I think in my case, it's probably due to the loud exposure to music. But anyway, so in 2015, it didn't bother me prior to that. You know, I had it, I was aware of it, but it never really affected me in any way. I was exposed to a loud sound in my kitchen, and I knew something was up after that because I had kind of funny, echoey sound in my ears. It wasn't severe, but it was enough to, you know, notice a change. And then I was under a lot of stress. Oh, and I did have a tooth pulled. I had an abscess, and I had a tooth pulled at around the same time. That could have been it. See, we just never really know exactly, you know, what causes it, and especially to make it worse. So anyway, gradually after that sound exposure, after the next couple of weeks, I developed pretty severe, I would say moderate to severe tinnitus. And it was definitely a different level for me. I had to really habituate to that. And it took me a long time. It took me probably 2, maybe up to 3 years to really get to the point where it didn't really affect my everyday life. I wasn't thinking about it all the time and all that. I've developed hyperacusis, which means I had a very strong sensitivity to just everyday sounds. Like going into a restaurant, I would fear going into, especially like a restaurant that had a bar in it, because usually those tend to be a little louder. And I went through that for a while. That was very uncomfortable, especially when you're going out to eat dinner with other people and you walk in there and you say, you know what, it's just too loud, or maybe they can move us to a quieter part of the restaurant if possible. And it was slightly embarrassing for me, although I shouldn't be embarrassed, because hey, I can't help what's going on, and if people don't understand, then that's on them, right? To never feel ashamed of this condition. You're not alone, and I just want you to know that. So anyway, it took me a while. It took me a long while to really get to the point where it wasn't affecting my everyday life. So, on to the next round. I would say from 2015 to about 2017 and a half, 18, I was habituating. I finally got to the point where I just remember one day saying, I don't really think about going into a restaurant anymore, or I'm not really thinking about my tinnitus anymore like I was before. So I knew that I would really got to a good place with it. Okay, so fast forward, and I know this is kind of going on, but this is my intro story, so I'm trying to give you as much detail as possible. I would say during the pandemic, I was really good, proud of myself for not getting COVID for the first 2 years, and then all of a sudden, boom, I got COVID, even though I was trying to protect myself with masks and all that stuff. Okay, so I got a pretty severe, I wasn't hospitalized, but a pretty severe case of it. It took me a long while to get over all the symptoms, the respiratory, and I ended up going on antiviral for the first few days, and then I think I went on antibiotics after that. So it developed into long COVID. I had respiratory issues. I mean, nothing that really stopped me from doing my everyday stuff after I finally kind of got over the worst part of it. I kind of went on with my life, but I just knew there were still remnants of that virus that was still in my body. So, okay, so that was that. And then 6 months later, I contracted COVID again. And this time, it actually wasn't that bad. During the time I had it, it's like, oh, wow, this is a lot easier than the first time I had it. It was more mild. I still had some of the symptoms, the fever and the congestion and all that kind of stuff, but it didn't last as long and it wasn't as severe. So that was like January of 2023, I believe. Okay, so about 2 weeks after that, after I was kind of getting over it, the COVID, all of a sudden I realized I'm getting some really weird sound in my left ear. I would wake up in the middle of the night and I'd have this intense sound, almost like a mechanical type sound, like a refrigerator or an air conditioner sound. I would wake up in the middle of the night and it's like, whoa, I never had this before. And so that really bothered me. It kind of came and went for a while, and then it turned out to be like every day I started struggling with it. It might be bad at night, maybe get a little bit better during the day, but since then, I would say for the most part, 95% of my days, I'm struggling with it. I still am. I have a few days here and there. Actually, not a few days at a time. I have a day every once in a while that's like, oh wow, this is a lot better. I'm having some hope now that it's going to start getting better. I actually had a really good day yesterday, almost felt back to normal. And then today again, you know, I woke up in the middle of the night and it's this intense, loud sound in my left ear. And it could be associated with my limbic system, because when I'm dreaming and I have very intense dreams, it could be interrelated. Maybe my hormones or whatever, my, stress hormones are kicking in. And it could be making it worse. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. So I just want you to know that I'm still struggling with it, but I do have hope. And I know I've habituated to pretty severe tinnitus before. And it did take me a long while, but I finally did. And that's not to say that it was always good. I mean, sometimes when I'm driving, most of the time I'm driving, you know, it just kind of exasperates it. Sometimes when I'm watching TV, almost all the time, I'm trying to watch TV. I'm hearing it, I'm listening to it, and it's kind of interfering with the enjoyment of watching TV. So, and I'm still nervous about going into movie theaters and loud restaurants. So I still am going through all that stuff. Traveling, you know, I've been on a plane in the last couple of years, but that was before this last bout of more severe tinnitus started happening in my left ear. And that was okay, but since then I've gone traveled cross country to California, where I'm from and my family's from. I actually live in New York, but my family's over there. And, you know, I've taken the train thinking that's going to be a lot quieter. Train isn't really that quiet, but it's you know, it's just more of a, you know, it's not as intense, the sound, and I can put the earmuffs on, which I do. And even when I drive, I wear these, where are they? Yeah, I don't know where they are now. Anyway, I have a headset. It's hearing protection. And so I wear that whenever I feel like I need to. We're actually going to be taking a cross-country driving trip starting Tuesday, and I'll be wearing those probably most of the time. So, and it also seems like, you know, if I have a better day when my tinnitus is lower, which isn't that often, driving and outside sounds don't affect me as much. So when my tinnitus is worse, that's when my hyperacusis gets worse also. I've correlated those two for me. So I know there's a lot of other things to talk about, but that's just kind of a general overview. And I just want to say, you know, there are days and some nights where I can't sleep. I would say maybe, you know, 50% of the time, I may wake up in the middle of the night and it's hard for me to get back to sleep because of the noise. So I just get up and I try not to fight it. I try not to resist it. You know, I'll get up and walk around. I'll just, you know, try to distract myself, and eventually I'll fall asleep. You know, I've tried different medications, prescribed medications for sleep. I really don't like those because I don't like the way I feel the next day. I do take melatonin. That seems to help me. I drink herbal teas like chamomile, stuff like that to help me try to go to sleep. I listen to ASMR, watch ASMR videos. Very soothing. You just find sounds that are pleasing to you and relax you. I like turning pages and chewing gum. When I hear people doing that, it just seems to relax me. The singing bowls seem to relax me. Calming rain. But, you know, I just do whatever I can. I'm surviving. I have hope that, you know, I'm going to habituate again and not feel like I have to focus so much on it. Because the more you focus on it, obviously, the worse it's going to be, you know. Because if you're really focusing on something, you put a lot of energy into it, that's just what's going to happen. So the idea is to try to get used to it and try not to focus on it, try not to resist it, and, you know, distract yourself, you know, taking walks, keeping busy, doing things. Don't let anything stop you, okay? Even if you wake up and the sound's not very good, you know, if it's really bothering you, just say, you know what, I'm not going to let it stop me from living my life. I'm just going to go out and do the best I can. And if, you know, if you need to, just, you know, rest. If you don't feel like you can go out and do things, you know, just go with it. Be easy on yourself. You know, give yourself grace and understanding. And if you need to talk to somebody about it, that's always a good idea. You know, a therapist, there's cognitive behavioral therapy, there's sound therapy, there's so many different things, right? Neuromodulation is like a new treatment that's coming up or is around, but I haven't seen it in my area yet. So, you know, there's things that you can do. I did try the hearing aids for masking, and it was a no-go for me. Couldn't do it. You know, as soon as I put those in, the sound was just so tinny, and everybody sounded like they were on a microphone, and I just said, I can't do this. I can't. So, you know, you just have to be true to yourself, do what works for you, and be patient. I know some days are really, really rough. Believe me, I go through it, and I really understand. So that's about all I want to say for now. I will make more videos. Tell me what you think. If you can relate to my story, you can tell me, you know, what's going on with you if you'd like. I'm here to support you. And because I think that people with tinnitus do need support, you know, especially if it's more severe. And just know that eventually, if we can just get ourselves to a place where, you know, we can calm our nervous system down, if we can relax, deep breathe, and just come to a place of more acceptance of what's going on, just knowing that eventually it will get better. So a lot of it's your mindset. And so I'll be back, and I will talk more about my tinnitus and maybe things that I've learned about it. And I'd love to hear your story. So let me know in the comments, and nice to meet you all. See you soon.